Hi, and welcome to Running Book Reviews podcast. But today, Alan and Liz are not talking about books. So that's why this is a bonus track because that gives us the freedom to talk about whatever we want. And obviously, we always stick to running. So Alan, for those of you who don't know, Alan turned 65 last year in May. And so that means he's eligible for a whole fresh new set of provincial age group records to attack. Because he's been kind of attacking the 60 to 64 ones. In the last few years, he did a 5,000 meter on the track outdoors. But the record that he was eyeing, with my help, obviously, was an indoor 3,000 meter record because it was like a little bit, okay, I'm not going to say it's soft because the record was like 11 minutes something. It was like 11:23 or something like that. I don't know if you remember exactly, Alan. Do you remember?
No, I just remember it averaged out to 44 seconds per 200-meter lap on an indoor track. So I had to
Yeah.
run 15 laps at 44
Yes.
seconds. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's certainly 11 something,
Yeah,
11
and just for
13 or
context, when we calculated it, it was basically Alan's 5K pace, but for 3K. Except the thing is that, well, he hasn't been training for 5K, so he's not in 5K shape because we both just ran the marathon in the fall. And then since then, we've been running easy and doing some strides, but like no real hard workouts. So Alan wasn't in 5K shape, so it wasn't
yeah.
by any
Also,
means
when you say it's
given
5K shape, it's kind of 5K, my 5K PR
PR shape.
type
Yeah,
type of shape.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it was in terms of pacing. So it was like very much within Alan's potential, but like I don't think he really knew what to expect on race day. And just for the non-trackies, so an indoor track is 200 meters. So 3,000 meter indoor means that you're running 15 laps. And so sometimes those laps are a gift because it means that you get feedback every lap and you can make sure that you're on pace, exactly on pace every single lap. Sometimes those laps are a complete curse because you're feeling really crappy and your pace is just slipping faster than you can wrap your brain around. So sometimes track races are really not fun, and other times you can be really in the zone. At least that's been my experience. But for
Yeah, because
Alan,
you're experienced. Basically, I had no experience at all.
well,
I've never run a race indoors.
no, but you did
No.
at least run one outdoor race. But so I think like maybe the first thing we should address, Alan, was so the shoe rules are different for track and than they are for road. And so you
Yeah.
actually had no shoes to wear that were track legal.
Yeah, I went through my shoes and I've got probably about lying around. I've probably got 10, 12 pairs, of which four are in active use. But I went through all the inactive ones and I found that the
Mm-hmm.
shoes that I wear to go to the gym
Mm-hmm.
are actually a pair of Hoka Mach 4s and that they're legal. But they're about 3 years old now and have been just my gym shoes. So I thought I could
Yeah.
run in those, but probably what I should do if I've got no shoes is try to maybe look at spikes.
So actually that was quite the surprise for me because for years you've just been so resistant to the idea of ever getting spikes, and I never thought I'd see the day. So how about you tell us how you finally decided, like why did you not want to get spikes and how did you finally decide that you were gonna buy them?
Well, I didn't want to buy a pair of road shoes that would be legal for track, that I might never use.
That's
Um,
fair.
so I kept my eye open. I guess it was probably Black Friday specials at the time. I kept my eye open for anything coming up, and I saw some decent spikes, some more modern day spikes for like about a 50% reduction. So I just went, oh, I'll buy them and I'll see how it goes. And and so I just kind of did that. I did a
And
little
what
bit
did
of
you
YouTube research. I ended up
Okay,
getting, um, darn, what are they? They're Brooks, uh,
something.
yeah,
We'll have to post a
just
picture since you don't know what model they are, but you did
they're
do some
nice,
research.
they're nice pale blue ones.
But also you did enough research to know like they were like
Something
middle
like
distance spikes or something.
Eliminate or something like that. Brooks Eliminate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Um,
not sprinter spikes, you did make
no, it looked
that.
like they were middle distance spikes, so they were like seemed to be targeting 800 meters. So I thought, well, 3,000 meters is not that far. Um, much further than 800, but I think probably in retrospect, I should have had some spikes that are a bit more longer distance spikes and be a bit more forgiving when you are falling back on your heels a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, but nevertheless,
Yeah. And
bought the
then
spikes.
you
And then
bought
I
the
thought,
spikes.
well, I really need to practice the spikes. And there's
Mm-hmm.
an outdoor track near us, and we've been having a mild winter. So I went to the outdoor track and did some warm-ups and then put the spikes on and tried to run in them. And I felt like, do you ever see those pictures of like on YouTube of dogs
Mm-hmm.
when the very first time they get their winter boots on
Oh.
and they've never had them on before, and they like
Yeah.
walk like they're just like learning to walk. I kind of felt
So
a bit.
that's how you felt like with your spikes.
I kind of felt a bit like that.
Oh my
Felt
gosh.
weird because you're very front foot sort of emphasized in it seems to me in spikes. You know, all the spikes are in the front. They're all in the front
Yep.
half of the foot. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the heel striking is definitely out of the game. And even I guess probably a midfoot striker, and even striking in the midfoot, I was feeling like I was striking at the back end of the front foot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I thought, oh, should I just run normally? Because that's what you've been telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Or should I be trying to sort of, I don't know, get up on my toes a little bit more? So I was sort of messing around trying to do that. And then I
Yeah.
thought, oh, I should try and run quickly in them as well to see
Mm-hmm.
whether they're any good or not. So I sort of tried that a bit. And then next day, my calves were all sore.
And you were really worried about that. I remember. You were actually kind of stressed about the whole race situation.
And then
And then you got the sore calves after the
I thought, oh,
spikes.
I'll need to go and practice again. But then the snow fell in Montreal. So the
Mm,
outdoor track was covered in snow.
that's a problem.
So I then thought, well, what am I going to do? Should I run in my old gym shoes then? It's bad enough being old. I'm going to be in the race. I'm going to be one of the older people in the race. So I'm probably going to be, I'm going for an age group record, but I'm probably going to be near the back of the pack. And if I'm wearing gym shoes at the same time, I'm going to look like
Like a total amateur.
like totally useless. Yeah.
Uh,
So, I don't want to make this thing too long by getting into too much detail, but I found out that there was an indoor track at a sports center about 20 minutes drive from where I live. So I went there and asked if I could have like a daily pass to come in. And they said,
mhm,
oh, we've just started an offer for people who want to use our facilities for 10 days for free. So you can have a 10-day pass for free. And
And this
10,
was about 10 days
about
before
10
the
days
event.
before the race. Yeah. So I said, perfect. So I took a membership at their place. Thank you, Multisport Vaudreuil.
hmm
And I managed to get 3 training sessions in the 10 days,
Okay.
which were gradually better and better. At one stage, what I did was I ran a series of 200s
hmm
at a race pace
You got
with,
that from the Jack Daniels book, right? You
yeah,
went
with,
in the Jack Daniels book and you took one of the trainings that was
yeah.
in, yeah, the
I,
plan.
but I ran like, I think it was 5 200s
Hmm
um, with a 200 cruise in between
hmm
each one. And then what I did was I did those in my normal running shoes, not my gym shoes, but my normal running shoes.
Yeah.
And then I switched into spikes and I did exactly the same. so that I would get a feel for that was in like in the last training session. So I get a feel for how do the spikes feel versus if I had a decent pair of running shoes.
Mm-hmm.
That made me sort of say, okay, you're used to the spikes now, and the spikes feel better. They feel light, they feel right, they feel
Fast.
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 You get super traction in
Yeah.
them.
I love
Um,
spikes.
and I also ran after those two sets of 5x200s, I ran a 1K, so 1,000 at,
Mm-hmm.
at at race pace and was able to sort of pull that off.
In your
So
spikes? Mm,
in my
that's good.
spikes. So in that session, I'd actually run 3,000 meters at race pace. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd run the race at race
Yeah.
pace,
With
just
breaks.
all split up into breaks. So I thought, oh, that's pretty good. That's a good training session stuff. Up until then, I'd felt pretty nervous. I think I've been talking to you saying, oh, this is not a given. This is not a given.
No, I
Uh,
think it was Andre because Andre told me because I think because you and Andre you go to the gym twice a week together
mm,
and like I'm rarely there because like sometimes you know I have to go later because I finish work later.
yeah,
And so I think you were talking mostly to him because I
mm.
didn't know you were that nervous. And then Andre told me like, "Oh, Alan,
I was
he's
pretty
really
nervous.
stressed about this race." And I'm like, "Nah, he's got it like almost in the bag." And for me, I was just like, well, I mean, if you don't get it, doesn't matter because it was so early in the season. It was like December 16th, I think, that race. And so I
No,
figured
no,
you'd have
none of it
plenty of other
matters. None of it
tries.
matters. It's just a fun thing. I mean, I was
Yeah.
just, oh, I've never done indoors, so let's give it a go. 3,000 meters. I've never raced at 3,000 meters. 5,000 meters, like 5K, really
Hmm.
hurts. So 3,000 meters must really, really
Really
hurt,
hurt.
but it'll be over
Okay.
quick.
Yeah.
Let's go for that. Oh, I'm indoors. Oh, I don't know what that's like. Oh, I better get some spikes. Oh, I better try the spikes. So there's a lot of
Hmm.
new things. And
Yeah.
I'm a great believer in it's sort of fun to take on something that's new and challenge yourself. And for it to make you a bit nervous, that's kind of part of the fun.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
so. I guess it's normal that you're a bit nervous.
I mean, it's not debilitating. I don't get debilitated, but you know, I get analytical and concerned. Say, okay,
What
what am I
about
going to do?
registering for it? Like, because it's not like registering for a road race, because road races, the registration opens like the year before. Like everybody knows way in advance, and you can register for your whole
Yeah,
race season in December of the previous year.
yeah.
But track races are not like that.
You
So
have to register
how'd
like
you,
2 or 3 weeks before.
yeah. So how'd you
And
find out about it? I think it was our friend Camilo that,
yeah, you need to
yeah.
be affiliated with some sort of athletic federation. In our case, the Quebec Athletic Federation. So you need an affiliation to just get in. So and you need one of their affiliated or recognized events for it to count as a record. And then you need to find out where these things are. You can go on their website, but that's a little bit of an adventure. But the very best thing is if you know somebody who's in
In
amongst
the
it.
know. Yeah.
We have a friend in our club, Camilla, who runs track. He comes from track, and he knows all the events and all the setups, and
Mm-hmm.
so he was pretty. And he actually offered. He was running in the event. He was going to do the 1,500 meters, and he actually offered to switch to the 3,000 meters because he was just doing the 1,500 meters just to keep sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he actually offered to switch to the 3,000 meters and pace me because he's about, I don't know, what is he? He's about 15 years younger than me. So he's not in my category and he's probably on the track a little bit quicker than me.
Yeah, except in the 3,000, like he wasn't sure he could keep the pace for the whole thing, but he
Mm,
said, you know, he could pace you definitely for half.
yeah.
That would be well within his ability,
To,
or even 2K
to
out
be
of
honest,
three.
I was so, it was such an unknown for me. I said, look, I kind of rather you didn't because I don't know how it's going to turn out and I don't want to mess up your evening. And I don't want to get into a situation where I feel you're messing up my evening by running faster than I can keep up with or
Okay.
something like that. So I said,
Okay.
I'll have a game plan. I'll be disciplined about my game plan and I'll just try to be in my bubble and run to the clock and ignore everybody.
Yeah. So how was the warm up for the 3,000?
The warm
Because
up for the
so
3,000, I guess the shorter the distances, the more the warm up you do. So
mhm.
for 3,000 meters, you end up doing like about 5K's worth of warm up.
Yeah.
just imagine if that was a marathon, you would have to do about
Yeah.
60K of warm up
Yeah.
to have the
Yeah,
same sort
marathon
of,
you do like 10 minutes of warm up
yeah.
and then you run this like 10-minute race and you have to do like an hour of warm up. So, yeah.
Warm up was useful. Well, I was lucky for warm up because I had a pro warm up coach
Mm,
to look after me.
yeah.
So called Liz, who's done lots of track
Mm,
before and kind of knows how it works. And um,
yeah. I made sure that you did a full 20-minute jog before and I tried to make sure you didn't get distracted until you got to the strides
we were a
then
pretty
you were
good
fine.
indoor venue. So because there was lots of space in the indoor venue, we were able to warm up indoors.
Yeah,
So,
which is a real that's a real treat because a lot of
yeah,
times like you have to bring your outdoor clothes and go do your jog and most of your warm up outside because there's events on the track, so you can't warm up on the track.
yeah,
But this venue had an upstairs, just like a hallway
yeah.
kind of thing, and we ran around there and they let you do that. So they don't let you do it on the ground floor because I guess there's people, but they let you do it upstairs, which was great.
I think what I find is I'm a bit indisciplined with warm ups. I tend not to do probably enough because I think, oh, I'm getting a bit tired, or I'm getting a bit of a sweat on. I should keep that for the race. You
Yeah,
know,
no.
the natural reaction that you have. And
Yeah,
so
because that's usually true.
yeah.
You know, if you're running a half marathon or a
Yeah.
marathon, yeah, you don't want to burn through all your glycogen stores in the warm up. Like that would be bad.
So we did what? We did about 2 or 3K of jogging. Then we did
Yeah.
some little pickups. We did some pickups. Then we did a whole series of drills.
Hmm.
And then
Then I told you to put your spikes on and then
yeah,
go to the
and do some
area
strides.
and do some more strides. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I lost track of you because I'm not
And
allowed to go
and
anywhere.
I did those and I felt incredibly fast. So I was
Mm,
running the strides. I thought there's a lot of young people warming up as well.
yeah.
Oh, and they're much faster than me. So I was sort of watching them. Oh, wow, they're quick. I thought,
Hmm.
I've got my spikes on. It's like having super shoes. So I thought, I've got my spikes on. When I run my strides, I'm fully warmed up. I'll try and
Hmm.
burst. And
Yeah.
it felt fantastic. When you've got lots of energy in your legs and you're fully warmed up, it feels great.
Yeah. The problem with that is that then sometimes you get to the like the gun goes and because you guys were just one big heat of all kinds of people that were running all kinds of paces. Um how
Hmm.
was it to make sure that you didn't because think I told you like 5 times
Yeah.
during the warm up like okay Alan make sure that you don't follow the other people because they're all going to go out too fast
You
because
know that
that's
I like to go off hard.
yeah.
Like for I don't know the first half a lap or something, I'll settle in, but I'll go hard. And I
Hmm.
think your concern was that I was going to do that, find myself in with the young quick guys,
Hang on.
because I'd gone off crazy hard and thought, oh, this is the pace. I'll have to just sit
Hmm.
and be energized up because I'm nervous, and then just sit for 2 laps and then be dead, be a
Yeah.
dead man running basically.
Yeah. The problem with with the 3,000, like all those really short races is that like a couple seconds per lap what can just destroy the end of your race.
Mm,
Like it, and but you actually you went off. I think like maybe the first lap was a little quick, but
yeah.
not by too much. It was still okay. I think maybe instead of 44 seconds, you maybe ran 41, 42,
Yeah, I
which
was
is like
thinking, well, Coach Liz
okay.
will be disappointed with me. I need to try and go off slowly. And it needs to feel, I was thinking to myself, it needs to feel when the gun goes, when I go off, it needs to
Hmm.
feel like I'm going slowly. So I need to
Hmm.
start feeling slow because if I start feeling normal, it'll probably be too quick. Because that's
Ah, good
so,
strategy.
thought you need to start slow. Um, and I thought maybe my first lap might end up being, even slightly under target,
Hmm.
but it was actually quicker, one of my quicker laps,
Yeah.
even though I was trying to go slow. Oh, another thing I should mention is no pressure because it's my first event and I'm trying to set a record. Uh, but there ended up being about, I don't know how many people who came to watch me.
Like your entire family,
There's
and
there's
that I think there was like 10 people in the stands
at
just for
least
you.
10.
Yeah,
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 at
just for
least
you.
10,
Yep.
including, 6 or 7 people from the club who just
Yeah.
decided they had nothing better to do, or we'll go down to the city and
Yeah.
to the
Because there
running
were
track and watch Alan make fool of himself.
there were already a few of us because Camilla was running, and then me and Andre, we decided to jump in with him because he lives close, and we figured we'll go, and I needed to, be your warm-up coach and make sure that
Yeah,
you
you
warm
said
up
you
for
would
an
do that.
hour. So that was us. You brought your wife, so she
Yeah,
was there. And then that was it. But then slowly they trickled in. Your daughter with her husband showed
yeah,
up, so Susie and Brandon, and they listened to the podcast. So hi guys. Um, and then some of our club mates all showed up, like the Prices and the
yeah.
Coach
Coach
Bill
Bill.
showed up. I mean, it was just incredible. Like there was
There's
you
a
had a
whole
whole
posse
section. Yeah, you had a whole section
in
of
the
the stands.
stands.
I think I could hear them from the other side of the track where I was yelling splits at you. I think I could hear
Yeah.
them cheering for you every time you went around.
That was the other tactic that we made. What I did was I knew to run the record, I'd have to run sub 44-second average per lap.
Hmm.
So I set my watch with a timer. Can't really do GPS inside and all
Mm-mm.
that kind of stuff. So I set my watch with a timer of 44 seconds. So it beeped at me every 44 seconds. So I knew every time I came around at the end of the lap, if I got a beep before I reached the end of the lap, I knew I was behind. And if it
Hmm.
beeped when I'd passed the lap marker, I knew I was ahead. So I was doing that. But then you went to the other side at the 100, like the halfway point, the 100-meter point, and then
Hmm.
you were calling me lap times from the sort of half lap point,
Yeah,
which was
I
pretty
would just
useful because
lap.
I could actually hear those. You
Yeah.
were calling them as I was running by. I could hear you
Hmm.
going 41, 42, 43 as I was sort of
Yeah.
approaching.
And then when you cross the line, I'd lap the watch. So every time
Okay.
I would just get your that the last lap, what you ran. Um, and how did that race feel? So, the beginning sounds like the first lap felt like it was like easy-ish,
Well,
but
the first
when
lap
did
felt
it when
easy
did it
and
get
I was
hard?
ahead of pace. So, and I would say, after 3 laps, I was I was a little bit ahead of pace, but not at a point where I could be comfortable. I was sort
Hmm.
of, oh, I don't know, 2 or 3 seconds ahead. So I thought, this is okay. What I need to do is I need to run this now as much as possible. Just run this till I get near
Hmm.
the end, and then I'll see what I've got left.
Did you have it split up in your head? Like, did you have a strategy for how you were splitting up the 15 laps? Because 15 laps is a lot, like, just feels like a lot.
Was run the first lap in not too fast. Run all the other laps in as little under 44 seconds as you can manage.
Okay. So you just thought of it like one
Do
lap
not
and
try
now
to run
not one
any
lap.
faster than that. I don't know what's going to happen at the end. I think I was lapping in 43. I started to hear 43 as I was passing you
Mm-hmm.
regularly. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, this is great. This is exactly how the plan was supposed to work. So this was my game plan.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so every time I came around a lap and I heard 43, I thought, that's good, that's good. But then it started to get harder and harder to do that. And you told me that, you'll probably find it not comfortable, but okay to run the first 1,000. Then the second 1,000 is going to be tough. And then the third 1,000, you can like send it if you've
Mm-hmm.
still got the energy because
Yeah.
you're near enough to the end. So I was thinking, I've got to keep it on, got to
Yeah.
keep it on through the second 1,000. Um, but I found it was getting tougher and tougher. And then I started to think, well, relax, relax. You're being tense. Just keep it moving, relax, and just drive. Just keep it pushing, keep it pushing.
Mm-hmm.
And without having to reference it, because I was getting you calling me every 100 meters. Well, yeah, you were calling me on every 100-meter mark. And then I had my watch calling me every 200-meter mark. I was getting a time check every 100 meters without looking around.
Mm-hmm.
The guys
Yeah.
at the guys in the who were doing the timing station said they didn't know if I knew what lap I was on. because I wasn't
Yeah.
looking at them and I wasn't looking at their clocks and stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that.
was counting your laps too. So when you started to get to the end, I think I told you when you only had you had less than five because I was at the 100-meter mark. So
Yeah.
you had
I
like
was
four
counting
and
my
a
laps.
half, at that point.
Yeah, I was counting my
Yeah.
laps in fives. So I
Okay.
counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, K done.
Hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, K done.
Yeah.
Because my mentality was based on, first get the first K safe,
Yep.
secure the second K by working as hard as you have to work. And then
Hmm.
third K, you're just going to hang on or drive.
Hmm.
Um,
And sometimes you drive, but like really the pace ends up being kind of the same.
that's kind of
You're
how it
just
turned
working
out.
really hard for it.
It worked perfectly because I was able to, I must have done out of the 15 Ks, 15 laps, I must have done, I don't know, 12 or 13 of them in 43 seconds.
Hmm.
So they were good, they were ahead of the requirements, but not by much and consistent. So I
Yeah.
was just paying out my energy or using my energy in the right way, I think.
Yeah.
And when I got down to the last few laps, I was really, really struggling to
Okay.
keep the pace. I
Okay.
was really trying to keep calm, but just fighting very, very hard. You probably can't see it because I do tend to run in my bubble. I'm just looking ahead. I've got
Hmm.
an agonized look on my face.
Hmm.
Every photograph that was taken of me, I look terrible. From the
Whether
first
it's
lap to the last lap, I look like I'm dying.
Mm,
Um, well, at least I'm not, I'm not running around having an easy time. That's for sure. I mean, I found it extremely tough. At the end, I thought, okay, I think you said on the last, when I went past on the last or the second last lap, you got
hmm.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got seconds in the bag and
Oh,
going
you
great.
had a ton of seconds in the bag. You could have
Yeah, I
like
think
jogged it in
I
and it
ended
would
up
have been
having,
fine.
like
Um,
beating it by
like
I don't know,
20
20
seconds.
seconds.
Yeah.
But
No,
really,
like 30 seconds.
I only beat it by like 1 second per lap. That's what I
Hmm.
was thinking, and that's not
Hmm.
much.
Well,
I was
two
thinking about that.
seconds. I think like
Yeah,
1 to 2 because you ended up running like 10:53.
3.
But I think the record was 11:23 or 11, yeah, or 11, might have been
I know the
11:20,
last two
something
laps
like that.
I was pushing really, really hard,
Yeah.
not let the pace fall off, but I felt absolutely it was quite weird because I felt like I was working hard, but from my waist down,
Hmm.
nothing was working.
Yeah,
Like
I know that
you've got like
feeling.
these pieces of wood that you're trying to persuade to move that
Hmm.
used to be really good and now have gone useless on you.
Hmm.
Um, it's kind of what you see, I guess, in 400 meters runners when they get their pacing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, you see
Um,
them, they just
this
start
massive
falling
lactate
back.
building up in their
Yeah.
legs, and they
And
just won't move.
yeah.
And I
And
was
you're
starting
just
to
like,
feel
"Oh,
that.
come on, you got this." But there's nothing
No,
left for them to
they're
do. They're
dead.
just,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
thinking in the last two laps, I was thinking, well, I've got enough seconds. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Keep moving, keep moving. And at the same time saying, well, this is the last few laps, go full send, go full
Hmm.
anaerobic and just push. And so I
Hmm.
was doing that, and that was able to counteract the lactate buildup, and I was able to just stay at 43 seconds basically and just keep going round. It probably looked from the outside like, oh, he's just pacing it round in a nice, calm
Mm.
fashion. But in fact,
You
I was
were
in agony,
incomplete. Yeah.
yeah, and trying to do a full, anaerobic sprint
Hmm.
towards the end. But it just
Yeah, I
looked like,
remember
oh,
at the end.
he's just staying the same.
Yeah, I went to the finish to get a picture of you and Camillo because he was there. I guess he just kind of hung around after he finished his 1500, which was like the event before you. And yeah, I went to get a picture and you still had like your hands on your knees and you looked like you were still like not recovered from your race. And I'm like, Alan, get over there between those two people and smile for the picture. And you were like,
Okay, tend to be a bit like that at the end of all events.
Uh, yeah,
Come in pretty hard.
I guess yeah, you always like finish really hard. Um,
Yeah, tried to
and
channel my Zach Miller or Steve
Mm.
Prefontaine. Yeah.
And so finally, what's the verdict on the spikes? Like, will you ever wear them again?
Sure,
Or yeah, okay.
sure.
So
They're
not that scary anymore, are
they're
they?
yeah, I think, I'll wear them for indoor events if I do more indoor events.
What
Um
about like an
or
outdoor
or track events.
5,000?
Outdoor
Okay.
5,000, yeah, that'd be a big question mark, I think. But yeah, if I don't have track legal shoes, then yes, I'll wear them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a 5,000 or certainly for a 10,000, I think I'd be looking around for a pair of track legal shoes.
Okay.
But
That's fair.
by then maybe I'm going to be, used to spikes. I doubt it because I'm
Maybe.
not going to do that many events.
Hmm.
Yeah. It was
But
interesting how hot it was because you're inside, of course.
yeah,
And
yeah, it's
when you
interesting.
get moving,
And it
suddenly
gets dry. Like the air is
extremely
dry.
dry. I was
Yeah.
coughing for like 2 days afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And Camilla was saying, "Oh yeah, that's track hack."
Track hack.
Yeah. Oh,
You
okay.
didn't know anything about track
No,
hack before this.
he actually gave me some cough sweets at the end.
Oh,
He says, "Oh, you might need those."
for your
I said,
track hack.
yeah, okay, thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, but it was a pretty fun event. I mean, and then I had to go and fill forms in, and
Mm,
that took longer than the event
yes.
because because I set a record, a
Someone had to sign
provincial age
something.
group record. Yeah, but everybody's got to sign it. It's worse than getting married, or
Oh my goodness.
um,
Yeah,
it's
I
like
know all
buying a
about getting
house.
married. Yeah. Oh, geez.
You've got
Yeah,
to
getting married was
sign,
easy.
got to have it signed by the inspectors and signed by the conveyancers and signed by the banks, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Signed by both
yeah.
parties and
Yeah, I had to have the form signed by the timer, the official timer. Then I had to have the form signed by the official referee of the event. And then
oh,
I had to have it signed by the organizer of the event. And then I had to
wow.
sign it twice in different places. So I hope it's official
Hmm.
by now. I need to check it on
Yeah.
the.
I think they take their time. I don't think they update
They
it a few
do.
times a year, I think. So because remember
Yeah,
there was a time you got a record and someone else got it like the week after and your name never showed up because
it's true.
it
I was
took
a
them
record
like three
holder, but
months.
nobody knew.
Nobody knew, yeah. Because like 3 months later it got updated, but with the other guy that got the record like 1 week later. So
Mm.
yeah, that's how we know that they don't update it very often.
But
But it's okay. Eventually your name will get up there in the
it was a lot of fun. It was a very different sort of event for me. I'm used to doing like outdoor marathons or outdoor 10Ks.
mhm,
Um, and it
on the
feels
road.
familiar when you do that. When you do road races, you just go in the corral, hang
Yeah.
around. If you're feeling frisky, you push towards the front, and usually you don't. And I pull you towards the front.
No, I
Come on,
don't
come
go
on.
to
We
the front.
should be
No.
be further up. Oh
Yeah,
no.
no,
Yeah.
but it's like, when you're standing around with like, the guy that is like a 30-minute, 32-minute 10K runner and you're in the same row as him, I'm like,
No, you
we
don't do
don't
that, but you got
belong
to get
there.
past all the, the kids with their dads and
Yeah, that's true. It's just that the problem is that sometimes they're just a little bit everywhere, so they don't belong there, but
yeah,
they end up there. And my strategy is always for local races. My strategy is always I leave like the first maybe 2, 3 rows and I go
yeah,
behind. If it's those small local races around Montreal,
yeah,
when it's a marathon, I'm more like
yeah,
halfway down the corral. I'm usually like in sort of kind of at the end of the
yeah.
first half of the
Uh,
corral that I'm supposed to be
I
in.
kind of agree with you, but except I'll be just a touch little further forward than probably you.
Yeah.
Well, it was
And then
interesting when
Andre
we
will
did
be
the,
like, "Why aren't you with Alan?" And I'm
yeah,
like, "Because he's too far in the front. There's going to be all these
yeah.
people. They're going to sprint out and he's going to go with them.
It
And
was
then
interesting. It
I'm going
was
to have to catch him for the whole race."
You're at the same speed as me.
Yeah, but we don't run the same. Like well maybe for marathons we do, but
Yeah,
we don't run the same way for like 10Ks, for example, because remember last
yeah,
year we both did that 10K run and we only had how much time difference did we have? The one that I ran under 39 minutes.
Yeah, we had about, I don't know,
We
20
had like,
seconds or something.
yeah,
Yeah, 15 seconds.
except that you
I
went
never saw
out.
you.
I didn't see you. And
Yeah.
then towards the end, I saw you in the distance. I was like kind of catching you, but there was not enough distance to catch you all the way. But so you
So you
run.
had energy, but you didn't have enough distance left
No,
at the
it's
end. So
because
you
you went
started
out.
off too slowly.
No, no, you went out too fast. And so you couldn't keep it together at the end. That's how it was.
Could be. I don't want to
Yeah,
get to
because
the end and think I could have run quicker.
yeah, it's just that sometimes you go off and like I remember that race, the first kilometer, it's a little bit downhill and I remember I
Mm.
ran 3:45 and you were way ahead and I'm like, there it's a good thing I didn't follow Alan.
Wee! I
Uh,
think sometimes you got to like risk everything.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to try and run quick today. If it falls off, I'm going to get a terrible time. But if it works,
Yep.
I won't leave any seconds around,
Yeah.
like on
That's
in the
true.
starting gate, trying to weave through the kids with their
Oh, okay.
dogs and
Oh.
that sort of stuff.
I don't know.
Mm.
I feel like that's just part of like the whole experience. Is like the first K is probably gonna be a little bit
It was interesting at the Canadian
not
national
fast.
cross countries
Mm-hmm.
in the Masters race, because Camilla and I were both in that,
Mm-hmm.
and Camilla lined up on the front, like the first line, like
Yeah.
next to the guy who's going to run like the Canadian national record or something. He's right next to him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he's not going to take any prisoners. He's going to
No.
go for it from the start. And
Yeah, but he's an 800-meter runner. I feel like that's a thing in 800 meters. You don't want to be behind anybody. But
yeah,
in cross country, it's like you have
yeah,
like what, 6K
yeah. But he knows the
or
cross country is
8K?
8K. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe it's like, old habits, they die hard. Well, did he end up finishing like you guys ended up finishing in the first like top 25% or something? Or I don't really remember. I
No,
wasn't there for that.
I think I was about 50% maybe.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I was first in the age group for nationals. So
Okay.
that was good in the 65 plus 65 to 70 group. I was
Oh
first.
yeah, that's true. You were the Canadian champion for cross
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
Um,
Canadian
Canadian
national cross
champion.
country
Not
champion
provincial champion. You
for
were
the old guys.
Canadian national
Yeah.
champion in the 65 to 69.
And I won by about 3 minutes or something. I know was quite a bit ahead,
Oh wow. Huh. I
which is
think
quite
they're
shocking.
gonna be in the next few years. Stay tuned,
Quite
everybody.
shocking.
Those records are gonna come
Well, I
down.
don't think so because I think next year there'll be some more younger people coming up. There'll be, I think every year it's
Mm,
going to get quicker and quicker and quicker because, 60-year-olds these days are just getting extremely fast.
that is true. That is true. I mean, you remember when we interviewed Pete McGill about his Fast 5K book?
Mm,
And he's like basically specialized in making guys over 50 run a sub
super
15
fast.
minute
Yeah.
5Ks on the
Yeah.
road. So,
Mm,
yeah, so that is true. I mean, like I feel like with all the information and training theory and all that now,
yeah.
like just people are staying fast longer which is fantastic. But you're one of those people, so um I would say, don't discount yourself.
It's,
But we had
it's a
Ed
super fun
Whitlock.
bonus to be, yeah.
We
Ed
had Ed
Whitlock.
Whitlock, and so at a certain point, like in your age group, at one point he's gonna have all the records, and some of them are just so quick.
Yeah, except he moved to Ontario, so at least from a provincial point of view,
Yes, yeah,
he doesn't have all of the provincial records, so she'll still have a
you
chance.
still have a
But
chance for
at
that.
national records,
Mm,
no
he's
chance at national records because Ed
well,
Whitlock,
not
he was
not
world
the
record holder for the age
for
groups for a
so
while.
much, yeah. But mostly he did a lot of marathon, half marathon. So maybe you need to look at those shorter
Mm.
distances. I'm just, devising a
Maybe I should look
strategy
at
for you.
more things. I don't know. I've been sort of tinkering around looking at the World Masters and
Mm-hmm.
going, oh, should I go there and try and do some things? But
Hmm.
it's a
It
long
depends
way.
how far it is. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's in
Sometimes
Sweden
it
this
ends
year.
up, yeah, that's it's far to go. I mean, it's quite the financial commitment, to fly
Mm.
to Sweden
And
to
then there's
go.
I keep getting invited to because I keep running qualifying times. Keep getting invited to the World Marathon Masters.
Oh, okay.
You get an invite, but nobody pays you any money to go,
No, that's
and it
it.
costs a
Yeah.
fortune.
Yeah, and
Um,
I mean if it was in North America and you could
well, it
like
was in
get in the
Chicago
car,
last year.
that's
If it
still
was in
like it's a
Chicago next
flight.
year, that would have been great.
Mm, yeah, maybe. So I guess I mean that's pretty much it. So
That was
today's
it.
discussion was a request that we got on Instagram. So if you guys have any other requests like that, you want to hear about something else, then you can let us know. This one was a request from a listener named Chris,
So
who
there you go, Chris. That's the
yeah,
story.
that's the story of
Thanks for
Alan's
asking.
fast 3,000 meter.
I've got my eye on some other age group records this year now in 2024.
So stay tuned for that.
Standard road runs that I'm more used to. Maybe we'll tell you more about that another time.
Yeah. So I guess it's time to say bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.